Welcome to Prime Childcare Software Training. In this session, we're going to go over System Settings. To access the System Settings, go to the Settings module. The first tab is the Company tab. In this tab, you will enter in the company information for your facility. You will set up your logo in the system, and you will designate the time zone for your facility. The time zone makes a difference with daily sheets. In the Finance tab, you're going to set up what accounts default in when you do specific actions in the system. For instance, the accounts receivable account, the accounts payable account, invoice line items, invoice payments, any lines on a paycheck, the paycheck itself, the payroll taxes, and in the income tax vendor pull down, you're going to select a vendor account to track your income tax. In the invoicing section, you're going to choose which day is going to start out the week in the descriptions on invoices. For combined sponsor invoices, instead of doing one invoice per student, a sponsor that has more than one student will get only one invoice if this box is selected. For include overdue balances, any sponsor that has an overdue balance will have a section put at the bottom of each invoice as a reminder to let them know they still owe on previous invoices. In the payroll section, you'll choose your overtime method, whether it's after 8 hours a day or after 40 hours a week. The multiplier, I have time and a half set up. And then you also have Saturday and Sunday multipliers so that you can have different rates for the weekend. If you have the training hours exempt box checked, then training hours will not be included in overtime. At the bottom of the Finance tab, you'll see Invoice Charges. This is where you would add a fee that's going to be put on every single invoice while it's active. You see I have two invoice charges here. Both are inactive, so they will not show up on invoices. Once you're done with those charges, go ahead and put them as false so they're not active. In the Shots tab, you're going to set up the settings for what makes a student's name show up in the Overview module. The settings are to show missing shots, so if a student doesn't have a shot as marked received, then their name will show up in the Overview module. Show next due date is if the due date in the Student Shots tab is expired or missing, then their name will show up in the Overview module. And then show missing shot record will put the student's name there if they don't have a shot record attached to their student record. The bottom part of this screen is the shots listing. This is the master list for the entire system, so any shot you add or remove from here will be added or removed from every single student's record. In the Meal Program tab, you will put your meal program information for the CACFP program, including your center type and locale. Meal prices is the price of meals. You can choose a price for every single meal in your system, and that is used for budgeting. Under menu settings, you're going to choose which meals you serve in your facility and the times that you serve them. Under tasks and alerts, you can set up the new submission alert so that you'll get an email every time someone submits a online enrollment form. And under tasks, you can set PTO tasks that will automatically create PTO for salary and hourly employees based on the frequency that you set. Right now, the Apply Drop-Off Pickup Fees is a task that is not available in production, only in our test system. In the Security tab is where you will add users to your Prime users to your site. You'll enter in their email, the name, if they're going to be a user who will ever need their security settings or their credentials, access to certain screens restricted, they'll need to be set up as a user. If you want the Prime user to be an admin, meaning there's no way to change their security credentials, they have access to the entire system and always will, then select them as an admin. Select the Send Invite checkbox and then click Add. Once you do that, an email will go out to that email address for that user and they'll be able to set their password. Then you will select the user, and in security settings you can give them access or take away access from all the tabs in the system. And in certain places you'll be able to affect their functionality, so they won't be able to, if I uncheck this box, they won't be able to add or delete students within the system, clock them in and out, or do the batch check-in or out functionality. At the top of security settings, you'll see a Copy Settings From. This allows you to select settings from another user in the system and copy their settings onto the current user. So this way, if you have a teacher set up and all the teachers get the same access, then you can set one and then you can copy their access to other users. You can also select all the checkboxes and give someone access to the entire system, or deselect all. The Logs tab is a place where each action in Prime is logged. So this is an area for support only. They will be able to look at these logs and see what's going on should we ever need to do any tracking down of that. In online payments, this tab is where you would set up the integration with First American, and that is Settings in Prime.